Christine and her husband moved into the FLDS community not long after Warren Jeffs was arrested. So they really came in during a moment when things started to change and when Samuel Bateman became the new, head dog, big dog, whatever you want to call it. So this docuseries isn't substantial because it's telling his story after the fact. It follows his rise from the very bottom to the top of the FLDS community, and then him breaking off and creating his own community, his sect, the Samuelties. So this is pre-arrest, pre-everything that we know now. Now here's the thing. Christine and her husband had to do a little bit of lying because it's one of those situations where, yes, they weren't being truthful and they were deceiving, but with good intentions at the end of the day. They made Samuel, his wives, and the followers believe that they were there just documenting their community, which was why Samuel and everyone else pretty much welcomed them with open arms. But not too long into their stay, they started to hear rumors about Samuel's wives, specifically that he had underage wives. So behind the scenes, they started making some phone calls to the authorities, and this was something that really stood out to me, and I have to say, it sent chills down my spine, because Christine says that the cop that she spoke to concerning this possibility about Samuel Bateman being married to literal children responded by saying, "It's not a crime to call someone your wife, even if it's a child. What is a crime is to do something with that child, something like assault that child," which I can't even tell you how far off base that is. If there is a man saying that some 8-year-old little girl is his wife, it is concerning. It is concerning. So, of course, Christine and her husband now took that as pretty much like a challenge. They already had the trust of the group and the people involved, including Samuel, so they were determined to get proof that there was something nefarious happening behind closed doors with Samuel and his underage wives. And what's so ironic is that Samuel was so into himself that he literally was so eager to be the face of this documentary. Though, of course, he wouldn't have been had he realized what the documentary was truly about. But at one point, they talk about how Samuel was calling them up daily, wanting them to film just like pointless stuff, things like hiking, dirt biking, anything to be on camera. And there were many moments when Christine and her husband would kind of just like sigh to themselves like, "Oh, I can't believe we're really about to go record Samuel hiking by himself for an hour, but we got to play our role. We got to get our info." They knew that it was all part of the process, part of getting that trust and getting behind the closed doors. Because even though they seemed welcoming, there were still rules. Christine wasn't ever allowed to be alone with them and get the scoop, get the truth. She had to play along. She had to go along with every whim of Samuel's of like, film me on my dirt bike, film me hiking, because she wanted to be exposed and build that trust. And sure enough, it worked. And one random day, their moment had finally come. It was the moment when they knew that they were on the right track. Samuel had invited them over, saying that he had one of his impressions, which was when God would allegedly tell him something. And he said that Christine and her husband needed to come over right away so that they could tell some of the things, so that they could see some of this and share and document what was going on. It was very vague, but they were kind of like, yeah, okay, sure. And then once they got there, Samuel said that he, Christine, her husband, and 3 of the girls needed to get into his Bentley and go for a drive. However, now he said no cameras, which obviously that was incredibly sketchy. Christine still, though, had her purse with her, and inside, once they got into the car, she snuck it out and she hit record. And apparently in that moment, that is when Samuel finally confessed. Kind of. He said that he had been told by God that those 3 girls in the car with them, who were Samuel's wives, needed to have sex with other men in the community, and that he needed to watch. One of those girls was just 13 years old. So just like that, Christine had finally caught Samuel on tape admitting to sexually exploiting these minors, all under the guise of this impression that he got from God. It's really, really sick stuff, especially since they play this recording in the documentary.